our district strategic plan, which is called Driving Toward 2030. It is a takeoff on
Yeah.
DR. It's our North Star. It's not just a document that sits on a shelf somewhere. It's something that is a living, breathing document, and we try to make all of our priorities based on that strategic plan.
Everyone wants to feel more heard, right? Everyone has a voice, and which is a great thing. But with more voices, there is more management. And
Right.
it does definitely
True.
slow down the process as well of decision making.
But the most important thing about our dream seminars is that it is being led by our teachers for our teachers.
So how has the AI been taken right now by the teachers? Like,
There are some teachers who are becoming very knowledgeable about AI, and there are other teachers that I think understandably are a little intimidated by it.
so welcome our fellow educators and school leaders on the TomoClub Podcast series. Today we have Superintendent Bill Runey from, you help me pronounce it right. It's Dighton
It,
Rehoboth Regional School, right?
my last name is Rooney.
Rooney.
Um,
And how do you
so
pronounce your district name?
yeah, our district is Dighton Rehoboth Regional School District.
Got it. So, and we are talking in Massachusetts today, and the topic of conversation is going to be from vision to action. How do you strategically plan in K-12? I think it's a very interesting topic because a lot of our audience is aspiring school leaders or educators who actually would want to see what it feels like being a superintendent. And especially when you have to manage so many goals within a very short time. And you also need to manage a lot of emotions, a lot of people expectations. It's literally the future of students is in your planning and execution. So I think this is a very, very wholesome topic that we're going to talk today. And welcome to the show, Bill.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. So would you like giving a quick introduction about yourself, a little bit sneak peek in your journey?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm starting my 38th year in education. I started back in the late 80s as a teacher. I taught mathematics at the high school level. I was also an athletic coach, and very early on, I got my master's in administration, and I was very fortunate to become a dean of students and then an assistant principal. Uh, Back in 2006, I had a wonderful opportunity to relocate to Attleboro, Massachusetts, to become a high school principal. I was a high school principal for 16 years, and then in 2022, I had the blessed opportunity to come to Dighton Rehoboth to become superintendent. So it's been a journey for me. My family is entirely composed of educators, and I feel like I'm trying to live my parents' legacy every day. And it has been nice to be able to see education through the lens of a teacher, an assistant principal, and now superintendent.
No, absolutely. And I'm pretty sure your parents must be very proud of your entire legacy that you have maintained. It's definitely not an easy job, especially the way things are turning out left, right, center for education and public school system since COVID.
Yeah.
I think 2020 and today we are sitting in 2025, but we can still feel the after effects. So I have to
Absolutely.
congratulate the way you have running your organization and growing it. Literally, I was reading about it. Your enrollments are increasing, which is literally opposite to what's happening with every other public school district. So we'll definitely dive into that as well because that's very, very important. Inspiration for a
Yeah.
lot of school leaders out there to also know.
Yeah. Um, the enrollment piece is extremely important for us because it's tied to funding. Every student that we have in a seat translates to more dollars that we can do things with. And I will say that it's a very slow and incremental increase. I refer to it as trying to turn a battleship around.
Yeah.
But we are seeing the growth, and where we are experiencing even more um, more significant growth is the enrollment in our career and technical education programs. So that we have at our high school, we have 7 CTE programs for various vocational tracks. And so we have students who are now getting the college prep aspect of their education and learning some very important vocational aspects all within the same day.
Right. No, I agree. I've gone through your entire website and different programs that you run. It's super extensive. And that brings to my first question. Um, so as a district, you seem to have a very clear focus on STEAM, right? Whether it's from pre-kindergarten to grade 12. And especially now when the budget pressures are constantly uncertain. And I also saw there's a drop in transportation budget and Chapter 7 aid. So how do you make hard choices, to fund a new ambition, a new vision? What's your process look like?
So we have to stick to our mission. Our district strategic plan, which is called Driving Toward 2030. It is a takeoff on DR. It's our North Star. It's not just a document that sits on a shelf somewhere. It's something that is a living, breathing document, and we try to make all of our priorities based on that strategic plan. So the 3 pillars of that strategic plan are to empower our educators, to ignite and curiosity and learning in our students while we are shaping the students' future, but also the future of the district. And so when we are making decisions about funding, if we can tie it back to those 3 core values of our strategic plan, then I think that we are on the right track in terms of the best allocation of resources.
No, I agree with you. I think if there's a documented plan of action, it's always easy to say no to distractions. It's always easy to say yes to decisions, because otherwise, literally every small discussion can open up all battlefronts at the same time. So
Yes.
I love that fact that there is a clarity of the DR 2030. But also with every plan of action, the next step is to get people along, especially with educators and with administrators, is to get them on board to your vision that you want to get it executed. So what's the process look like on that front?
And it's even more of a challenge in a regional school district because our particular district is 2 towns, the town of Dighton, the town of Rehoboth. They're both outstanding towns. They have great leadership, but they also have they have differences. There are economic differences. Sometimes there are philosophical differences. And so in order for there to be buy-in to our school system, it's really important that my visibility and my approachability as superintendent is something that is first and foremost in the way that I operate. But as we went through that strategic planning process, we made sure that we were involving as many stakeholders as possible. So whether it be surveys, focus groups, the various ways that we could get input from the community. And we have a very strong alumni base. A lot of our alumni come back and live in our towns, which is a great resource for us.
Right.
Because they benefited from our school system, and because they benefited from our school system, they want to continue to support it. But I'm very proud of the leadership of our school committee, and also, we had a lot of teacher leaders and students that were involved in that strategic planning process. So I think that's what's really helped us in terms of being able to foster that buy-in. And we are all about the brand. I will wear some shade of green every day, and if I'm not wearing a green tie, I'm wearing a gold tie. And again, as I mentioned, just the visibility in the community is something that's extremely important. So I live nearby. I don't live in our 2 towns, but I do live nearby, and so I try to be present for craft fairs and board of selectmen meetings, so that it is a familiar face.
Right. No, this it's definitely easier said than done, specifically when you are talking about so many different stakeholders from two different towns. But I love the idea of alumni because they can become the local spokespersons for the school itself. And I think
Right.
getting them along is a brilliant idea, not just supporting in terms of school initiatives, but also putting out the message out there of why this has been done. Because otherwise, it's hard right now because unlike before, everyone wants to feel more heard, right? Everyone has a voice, and which is a great thing. But with more voices, there is more management, and
Right.
it does definitely
True.
slow down the process as well of decision making. Um, so I'm glad you guys are able to pull it off. It's not at all easy. So
No, and sometimes you do have to go slow to go fast.
oh, that's true. That's true. If you want to go long, you it's okay to be slow. But
Yeah.
as a leader of the district, I think, and as a leader of any organization, the first thing is to always arrange for finances, right? That's a constant. I would say that becomes a primary responsibility. If that has been done, the rest things can have a much more breathing room, right? And I would love to know how is your fundraising process goes about. Uh, how do you guys work on it, and have you guys taken any initiative on that front?
So 2 years ago, I proposed to our school committee that we create a new position of grant writer and treasurer. So it's a hybrid position. This person spends a portion of their time writing grants, managing grants, but then also they handle our treasury responsibilities, which is, a financial obligation from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. But she has done a fantastic job in her first 2 years of pursuing competitive grants. And that's money that we can then save our towns by, getting the allocation and the spending through the grant money rather than through taxpayer dollars.
Right,
And I really am proud of our school committee supporting my vision on that. In our first year with a treasurer grant writer hybrid position, we raised over $400,000 in competitive grants, and that allows us to support our teachers, give them the updated technology, the updated curriculum that they need to shape the future of our students. And what it's also doing is it's showing a commitment for fiscal responsibility on the district's part to our towns. And our mantra here is we are DR, because we are two towns, but we are one school district, and we are unified around the education of our students. And so we are DR is not just a slogan. Those are words to live by, and it's also a shared responsibility.
right. No, I think I've met a lot of school leaders, and they usually take up the responsibility of like literally every grant that they apply for is managed in a very ad hoc manner. So sometimes assistant superintendent takes the responsibility that, okay, let me work on it. Sometimes superintendent takes on it, sometimes curriculum director. So they pull out different resources sometimes. And there is no, I would say, a feedback mechanism that they could not qualify for previous funds, so they could learn from it and they can apply it here. So I'm glad you could hire one because everyone thinks about it, but not everyone is able to pull off. Uh, Specifically, because it's gonna cost to hire someone, and then you don't know whether the ROI will be there or not. So
Right. And you're absolutely right. It is all about the return on the investment. And thus far, the vision of the school committee has paid off, and we actually have some preliminary information about some grants for this coming fiscal year that seems to be very promising.
right. No, I'm telling you, when I'll put this podcast out, people listening to that part of the podcast will be like, what? I don't know. What are those grants? I want to know. So it's a tough market out there. So I'm glad we
Yes, it
figured out.
is. It is a very tough market. Yeah.
Right. You did mention about some initiatives, but I would love to talk about it further. That apart from the state assessment score, which you guys are showing positive trends, and also increase in enrollments in computer science and CTE programs, what other initiatives that you guys are focusing on right now?
Well, you mentioned the CTE programs, and I would like just to elaborate on that a little bit before talking about some of the other initiatives. But we're very proud of the fact that our CTE director secured a partnership with Ford Motor Company. Obviously, Ford is one of the largest automakers in the United States, and we have a very robust automotive technology program. And this partnership that we have with Ford Motor Company has allowed us to have online training modules that our students can participate in as a part of their daily curriculum.
Nice.
And when they graduate from that Ford program by utilizing those models, then they not only have a certificate that they can use for employment with other entities, but they also have a foot in the door with Ford. They can go to a local Ford dealership, and they have almost free admission to having a part-time job with them. And the hourly rates for automotive technicians is hovering around $20 an hour. So if you're a high school student and you have the opportunity to complete training modules during the course of your school day that could potentially pave the way for you to have an opportunity with a Fortune 500 company like Ford Motor Company, it's something that we're very proud of. And it's also turned into a boon for us from the standpoint that Ford Motor Company donated a vehicle to us. It's almost a brand new vehicle that had received some damage cosmetically. And so therefore they didn't feel comfortable selling it, but they donated it to us. And now our automotive students are getting to work firsthand on a brand new vehicle. So they're learning all about how to repair backup cameras and, work on Apple CarPlay applications and anti-lock brakes and those types of things that you don't necessarily get a chance to work on if it's just, an old donated vehicle from the early 2000s.
No, I'm so glad. I think having these industry partnerships is so important, and then the learning curve of students is actually updated and relevant for the job market. I'm loving it that you guys are able to pull that off.
Yeah. But and you had also had asked about, additional initiatives.
Yeah.
So, we have piloted a program with our teachers that we're very excited about. Our assistant superintendent and director of instructional technology came up with this idea that, the teachers are very technologically savvy these days. And, a lot of times a PC in a classroom is not a very effective teaching tool. And so we have shifted to MacBooks and iPads for our teachers, and teachers could write a grant to apply to be in a pilot program through our district to be able to receive an iPad, an Apple TV, and a big screen TV in their classroom. And those teachers, what they're doing with being able to utilize the applications that are on a smart device and project that to their students and have interactive displays has been very positive. And as we continue to get grant funding, or as we continue to prioritize the money that we do get from the state and from our towns, being able to have a pilot program and see how that program can benefit not only our students, but also to empower our staff is very important.
No, that's interesting. Very interesting. Also, now turning to the previous conversation about enrollments, people are losing faith in public school systems in general, and they are either opting in for homeschooling or charter schools or private schools right now. Even there are multiple microschooling concepts. So one thing is definitely that it's a very parent choice market turning out in every state, irrespective of their political inclination. So how has been the thing in your community? Have you felt a drop in enrollments first, and how are you still engaging the community to have faith in public school system?
Yeah, we did see a dip in enrollment, especially at the high school level. And And that's because, families do have viable options in our community. We have vocational programs in our high school, but we are not a full-scale vocational high school. There are two very strong vocational high schools that are in our area, and there are also some very strong private opportunities for families that if they have that income stream that they can afford, that is an option for that as well. But what we've been able to really have families understand with our Driving Toward 2030 strategic plan is that you can not only have the benefits that are in a regional vocational high school or in a private high school, you can still have those benefits here in public schools.
Mhm.
And the what I feel is the beauty of the public school environment is that you're exposed to so many different things. If you're going to a private option, that's a lot more college prep oriented, and if you go to a regional vocational technical high school, then obviously the trade is the primary path.
Right.
We give students the opportunity to have voice and choice. They have the opportunity to grow as people, not only as students, but then they also get to have more choices in what academic paths and specialties that they want to incorporate into their resume for their next step, whether that be college, career, or military.
Hmm. No, I like that. I think you're right. Other schools may have a specialized school may not be the always go-to choice, because I think schooling, especially high school, is more like exploration time before you want to boil down and decide that this is what I want to do. So yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense to have a whole round opportunity, so that
Mm.
your your child has the opportunity to decide what they really want to do during that time. And also, I guess the student diversity also helps, because when you're talking to your peers and you're trying to get their ideas, which are also equally open, I think that helps a lot. I remember I used to learn a lot from my peers as much as from the teachers. So I can never rule that out, especially from those friends that I made in school are still tight and so important.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Now, turning the discussion towards the professional development that you guys run in your school district, which I read extensively about, and I love about the dream seminars that you guys are doing, giving educators the voice and choice. Because till now we have been talking about only students. So,
Right.
turning the wheel towards educators, tell me how you guys are approaching this professional development in your school.
So prior to my arrival in 2022, the district did a needs assessment and a survey of our staff members about professional development, and the reports were dismal. It was clear that our teachers wanted something different and they wanted something fresh in terms of professional development. And I locked arms with our assistant superintendent on reimagining the way that we could offer professional development. And as a superintendent or as a principal, I always benefited from going to conferences, and I looked forward to it. There were door prizes, there were meals, there were keynote speakers. And so what we've done with our dream seminars, and dream is Dighton Rehoboth educators achieving mastery, is that we've created kind of a conference atmosphere. So we want all of our educators in the district, whether they're elementary, middle, or high school, to come to our high school and feel like it's a conference. We bring in vendors.
Mhm.
So we might have our insurance vendors, we might have retirement vendors. Even last year, we had massage chairs and different opportunities for our staff members to participate that way. But we've had some outstanding keynote speakers. But the most important thing about our dream seminars is that it is being led by our teachers for our teachers.
Mhm.
We have the experts right under the roofs of our buildings.
Mhm.
And when we have the opportunity to have our staff members lead our professional development, it creates a level of excitement and a level of buy-in that you don't necessarily get when you bring in somebody from the outside. We still do have a fair number of outside presenters that will come in on various topics, but to see our teachers, our assistant principals, our principals, and even myself develop and deliver professional development has really reinvigorated the delivery of PD in our district.
Hmm. No, I think the trainee becomes a trainer is a very common strategy that most school districts adopt, and they definitely want that their in-house teachers to become trainers and conduct professional development sessions. But it is difficult to maintain a quality, right?
Right.
Because, like for example, even if I'm a great teacher at math, I may not be able to like deliver the same kind of quality material to every kid, whether it's middle school, high school. It's very different depending on your audience and
Right.
depending on the subject as well. Especially professional development can be on various levels, from your personal growth to AI to new tools. So how do you maintain? Do you guys have some kind of metrics to measure the quality of that assessment, quality of that professional development?
We do. We ask all of our staff members to complete an exit ticket, which is a Google form survey, and it is anonymous. And we seek their input for being able to make those dream seminars improve each and every time. And the feedback has been very valuable,
Mm.
largely positive. But again, there are ways that we can always improve. We don't want to rest on our laurels, and we take that feedback very seriously. There's a lot of it because we have several hundred educators in our district, but we do comb through it, and we've actually been able to use some AI tools to help us with consolidating and pointing out the high points of that feedback, and the response has been very positive.
Hmm. Interesting. And how do you plan the logistics of it? Like, I'm pretty sure you guys have more than 200 plus educators in your school district. So do you roll out in phases, or do you have specific PD days where you expect everyone to be conducting those sessions? How do you plan the rollout of any new professional development?
So it's rooted in 2 full-day professional development days where the students get a holiday, and it's all about the staff on those 2 days. One of them is in November, and then one of them falls in the late winter, early spring. But in addition to those 2 full days of dream seminars, our assistant superintendent works with our curriculum coordinators and our department heads to make sure that in the faculty meetings, which are happening each month, or the team meetings that are happening every other week, that the professional development, the threads of the professional development are woven throughout the entire year. So it is a very heavy lift from the standpoint of the scheduling aspect of it. In addition to our assistant superintendent, our principals and assistant principals, director of human resources, they all work very hard to schedule that entire day. But when it happens and it goes very smoothly, it's a beautiful thing.
Right. No, I can definitely imagine. Also, how has the AI been taken right now by the teachers? Like, I'm pretty sure it must be a spectrum of teachers on the fence and some are optimist. How's your overall teachers reacting to AI in their day-to-day life?
I think as you touched upon it, it's kind of a varied approach. There are some teachers who are becoming very knowledgeable about AI, and there are other teachers that I think understandably are a little intimidated by it. But AI is a powerful tool, and it's a powerful tool that's here to stay.
Right.
And so, I liken it to teaching a teenager how to drive. I have 3 kids.
Right.
I taught all 3 of them to drive. It wasn't just a case of tossing them the keys and saying best of luck. There's a way to teach responsible usage. There's a graduated approach to making sure that you are increasing the level of comfort. But I think one of the differences between the implementation of AI and the way that we might teach our kids to drive is that we're learning about AI at the same time that our students are learning about AI. And so sometimes that learning curve for the students might be even a little quicker than it is for us as adults. And so that does pose a challenge for us. But we are taking it slowly and methodically so that we can make sure that we're doing it the right way. But it is definitely a wide spectrum of perspectives.
Right. No, I'm pretty sure. I think so. A lot of school districts that I'm talking to, because of they're not able to put down more resources in their departments, they're still training their teachers on AI because that's the way that they can expect the same set of people to do more work and efficient work, and it can reduce the workload. So it has very quickly shifted that I should learn AI, that I need to learn AI. It has like
Yeah.
literally shifted within 3 months or 4 months, I think, among the school leaders. And that's why they're rushing before the uh, new school year begin. That because students are coming up with all sort of queries, all sort of new issues from the parents that, about AI, that teachers need to feel that they have enough updated knowledge uh,
Yeah.
to able to answer those questions more informed. Because even if they don't ask for it, they will be subjected to those questions and expected
Right.
to be an expert very early on. And so, yeah, I think the responsibility does fall a lot on teachers, even if they don't ask for it. So,
Right.
right. And same with students. I think student AI literacy also becomes crucial because they need to be told how to use it more ethically, more responsibly, and keep their critical ideology intact while using AI. So, yeah, I've really sometimes asked this question to a lot of leaders. What is your current one big problem that you want AI to solve for?
I think if AI could help save our teachers some time in terms of their planning or in terms of having alignment with other teachers in the same discipline. I think that could be something that would be a very powerful utilization of AI. Our teachers are they're working so hard right now. They have they have to communicate with parents. They have
Hmm.
to communicate with their colleagues. They have to plan their lessons. They have to complete their student assessments, put those into the grading portal, submit attendance. They have an awful lot on their plate, and I don't think a lot of people outside of education realize how tough teaching is these
Yeah.
days. And if there are AI tools that can help save teachers time. So, for instance, if there is a way to, draft an email response to a parent based on what that parent's concerns,
Yeah.
that might only save a couple of minutes, but a couple of minutes for every email that you have to send back to a parent or send to a colleague, that adds up over time. And if we can save our teachers 45 minutes to an hour a day
Yeah.
through AI tools, then I think that it's a good investment.
Right. No, I think it's easily possible. I think we have heard those kind of feedback that they're saving at least 8 hours every week on admin tasks, lesson planning, assessments, and coming up with different new challenges, having more free time for student interaction. So, yeah, I think there are a lot of possibilities. So we did cover multiple aspects of your school district, right? Um, but what would be your piece of specifically? I was very excited to know, which you answered very elegantly when I was thinking that how do you put vision into action? And you said that there's a breathing document that becomes the cornerstone way to make decisions. Any piece of advice that you would have for other school leaders who are trying to figure out new initiatives and are getting a pushback from their teachers or from their parents or other stakeholders? How do you navigate that?
Well, I think our best teachers are the ones that are building relationships with students. You can be a master of your content, but if you can't deliver it to your students, if your students don't buy into what you're selling, then they're not going to learn. And I think we have to translate that to our approach as school leaders. We have to be visible, we have to be approachable, and we have to be communicative. One of the things that I'm very proud of is the relationship with our teachers union. We meet with our teachers union every 2 weeks. Even during the summer, there are times where we meet periodically with the teachers union because we want to hear their concerns. Sometimes it's not comfortable for a teacher to go to a principal or the superintendent about concerns that they have. And that's why union leadership is so valuable. If we have a collaborative relationship with union leadership and they feel that they're in a safe space to come to us with ways that we can improve the district, that makes our teachers happier. If our teachers are happier, they're more effective. If our teachers are more effective, then our students are learning more.
Yeah.
And it also extends to the relationship with our towns. Inflation is skyrocketing.
Right.
State funding, federal funding is not keeping up with inflation, and it's putting more of a burden on our taxpayers. And so I have a responsibility as superintendent to be the face of the district and let them know the wonderful things that are happening in our schools so that they are seeing that return on investment, and continue to support the We Are DR community.
Yeah, yeah. No, I absolutely agree with that. So yeah, it has been quite a good overall insights on various fronts. Is there anything specific that we haven't talked about, but you think might be relevant to share?
I think that making the point that education is a very difficult profession these days. Unfortunately, there are some outside of education that think that teachers get their summers off and so on and so forth. That is really a well-deserved vacation for our teachers, and I would just encourage folks to be open-minded, if they are outside of education, to just be open-minded to how difficult the profession is these days. But we have such an immense responsibility to shape the future of the next generation, that supporting educators needs to be a priority.
Right. No, absolutely, absolutely. Absolutely love the conversation, Bill. Thank you so much for sharing those information. And for anyone who want to know more about the school district or Bill, I'll put up the description, the LinkedIn profile in the description. So should definitely do follow and check that out. So thank you so much for giving us time, Bill, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. Join our journey at TomoClub